flight. Man's fascination with it has been universal since the beginning of time. Wings, designed to lift skyward, to break the bonds of Earth and defy gravity for a few fleeting moments. With wings, man can soar, but put them on a race car, and the downforce allows high-speed cornering and split-second agility, and you can fly. Indoors, the Can-Am Midgets have been headline performers on Raceline. Working in restricted confines, speeds approach 60 miles an hour, even in constant traffic. But today, the Midgets will fly higher and faster on the newly refurbished 3rd Mile Peterborough Speedway. There's more maneuver, room to pass, and speeds will jump to the 90-mile-per-hour range with 13-second laps. This will be one of the fastest oval track shows you'll see on Raceline this year. From Peterborough Speedway, Peterborough, Ontario, it's the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge on Raceline.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Eric Thomas, along with Ron St. Clair and John Massingbird, welcoming you back to Peterborough Speedway for the Can-Am Midget Outdoor Challenge. Ron, we're used to the Can-Am Midgets indoors. It's one of the best shows we present every year on Raceline. The fans love it, but that's a different format. No wings on these very, very fast cars and speeds of around 55 to 60 miles an hour. But the idea here is to give them a little wing and give them a lot more room.
Well, they're going to be very fast here in Peterborough. It's a 1/3 mile, unlike inside Niagara Falls, where it's like a hockey rink. This is going to be very fast, probably about 100 miles an hour, and loud. Cars turning approximately 12.5 in RPM, maybe up to 13,000. So a very, very fast track.
Keith Dempster out of Alton, Ontario, has had the points lead in this fight almost all season long, but now the pressure's on from Norm Everschlag and a few others, but it's been pretty well Keith's show right from the beginning.
Well, he's well out front. He has 4 feature victories to his credit so far this year through their 16 events, and only 8 remain. Up to last night, they had an event at Sunset Speedway last night. He's so far out in front, I don't think anyone's going to catch him. However, there are 3 drivers right in a tight battle for second place. And I guess the man to watch really is Andy Macareth in the number 40 car. Except last night when he broke, he's been the hottest man on the circuit, winning 3 of the past 4 races.
All right, and behind us, the cars are lined up. When we come back from Peterborough, we'll go green for heat number 1.
Raceline is brought to you by new Kodak Gold Ultra 400 film for all your Kodak moments. Revell Monogram, the world's model maker. And Aerofoil wiper blades, the leading edge in wiper technology.
You could not ask for a more gorgeous day here at Peterborough Speedway. Glad you're along with us. 10 laps coming up. Heat number 1. Mark Cristiano out of Buffalo, New York will take the point here, Ron.
Mike Kalija inside of row number 1 from Delaware, Ontario, home of Delaware Speedway. You would think he would be a veteran to stock car racing.
Wayne Turnbull in row number 4. If he wins this, watch for him to do one of those patented little cartwheels. Andy Macareth, you see him there in car number 40. He leads the win totals with 7 this year. He has been hot outdoors. Love these cars with the wings. Used to watching them run indoors without them. But watch these speeds. Hear the engine RPM come up. Turn number 4, green flag, we're off and running with heat 1.
13,000 RPM. They'll be hitting about 90 miles an hour down the straightaway. Right out front, perhaps the oldest driver in the field here today at 61 years of age. It is Dick Watkins.
The amazing 61-year-old great-grandfather out of Grand Island, New York. One of the original co-founders of this tour, not slowing down at all. 61 years old, and he'll lead it early here in Heat 1 at Peterborough.
The interesting thing about these Can-Am Midgets, Eric, is that it takes usually 3 to 4 laps to get the tires really heated up, and then you'll see things change in a real hurry.
Saw Wayne Turnbull's 31 there swinging around to the outside, trying to catch positions here, trying to move up on Steve Koza in car number 32. So Turnbull throwing it around. There's Andy Macareth on the 40 back here in the pack and trying to move up.
Oh, yeah, he'll move up, no doubt about that. He is perhaps the perennial driver in the field here today. There you can see the tires are coming to heat now for some of the serious contenders as they continue to move through the field. And we ride on board with Andy Macareth.
Wow. Doesn't take long to get by these guys, and the noise is absolutely superb.
It's unbelievable. They're not off the throttle very long.
Not at all. They pretty well keep their foot into it.
Well, I was really hoping to see some big things out of number 87, Al Forbes, perhaps one of the local favorites right here from Peterborough.
Absolutely. Good crowd on hand. Makareth now in the 40s, swinging around the outside of Steve Koza, who won a feature back here in 91. A little dust there. Just some tires getting off into the loose stuff in the infield.
Steve Koza, the 32 Can-Am Midget, the leader right now. Of course, there is the 40 of Andy Makareth trying to make a move to get out front.
Pokes it down into the inside, has a peek. No, that's not going to do. He's going to stay to that outside line. Koza out of Toronto in the 32, but Andy Makareth out of Etobicoke wants to try and add to that win total. Now has a look down the inside. Look at the wobble on these cars, but man, they stick so well with those wings. Andy Makareth takes the point here.
Koza getting a little loose. Makareth taking advantage of that, moving to the inside to take the lead, but the front three still very tight right now. Makareth, Koza, and Wayne Turnbull.
Dick Watkins, our early leader, fading down to fourth place, but hanging up inside the top five. So Makareth, Ron, who we expected to run very well here at Peterborough, out front, and now starting to stretch that lead a little bit over the 32 of Steve Koza.
And the 87 of Al Forbes, who we mentioned earlier, just went down one lap, and you saw him there momentarily without the wing up top.
There's the checkered flag, and Andy Makareth will take the win. You're getting lapped in 10 laps at this place. Gives you an idea of how quick these guys really are going.
They're flying. If you're a second off the pace, it doesn't take long.
There's the final results of Heat 1. Makareth, Koza, Turnbull, Dick Watkins, and Bob McDonald. So Andy Makareth has got things under control here. Starts the afternoon off exactly the way he wanted with a victory in Heat 1.
Tight confines.
Performance racing news. North America's Motorsport Authority. Get to the question early, and a little bit later on in the telecast, we'll get the answer off you. Who won the very first Can-Am Midget Championship? Was it John Casey, Dick Watkins, or Vince Cristiano Sr.? All of those guys there have been around a long, long time. Could be any one of the three.
Well, they have to have been around for a long, long time. It goes back to our centennial year, 1967.
Oh, you gave a hint now. I didn't know you were going to do that or not.
Well, you weren't going to. You're such a tough guy.
Well, that's right. I want to make them work for these things here. Push start on Norm Eberschlag out of Newmarket, Ontario. Some of these cars have onboard starters, some don't. That is the big debate going on right now with full-size midgets and sprint cars, whether or not they should go to the self-starter to speed up the shows or whether they should stay traditional and have to be push-started.
I think if they polled the fans, the answer would be go to the self-starters.
I think so. It does speed up the show. Row 1, Dick Mahoney and Vince Cristiano. That's Mark's brother on the front row.
Dan May in that number 7 Can-Am Midget could be tough coming off of row number 2.
Norm Eberschlag, you saw him get pushed off here. The 4-time Ontario go-kart champion, Arnie Bray, and rookie, at least in Can-Am Midgets, Mike Wetherill, on the final row. Wetherill, of course, is a big powerhouse driver in twin-track Formula One snowmobile racing, but he is brand new to the Can-Am Midget Club. Okay, formation coming up here. Should be ready to let him rip here for the Heat number 2, 10 laps in duration next time around.
Be interesting to watch Dick Mahoney off the pole, a 10-year Can-Am veteran without the wing up top. It's been my observation here today, Eric, that these cars without the wings just do not have the same kind of stick on this track.
No, they don't. They really can use those wings to the downforce advantage. Nice formation here. These guys know how to line up. Take note, some of you other guys. Green flag comes out. And away we go with Heat number 2 at Peterborough Speedway, the Outdoor Challenge.
Well, if you have to pick a favorite in this 10-lap heat race, Norm Eberschlag in the top 5 all year long, has a couple of wins in the A features, so you would think a heat race victory should be fairly easy, but they have to get to the front early because only 10 laps, and the lapse is so quick.
Wingless car number 79, Dick Mahoney, continues to lead, but let's ride on board here with Norm Eberschlag in car 36.
Trying to find a hole here to move up a notch. Currently running in third. Right behind him, of course, trying to make a move is Charlie DeRosa in the 39 car, and he's coming on like gangbusters. Of course, he has a lot of experience, former New Holland track champion.
Exactly, one of the very tough Western New York campaigners. A majority of these drivers do hail now from Ontario, and duck underneath, Norm Eberschlag going for it there. He's got lots of grip out here. Norm Eberschlag's already won 2 this year, Ron. Going for another. Doing it the hard way on the outside here. Really challenging and putting the heat on Mahoney in the 79.
Yeah, Mahoney just had a hard time sticking coming off of turn 4 that last pass.
Yep.
Exactly. Still hanging in there. And look how tight this is, not only for the lead, but for third place as well.
Norm Eberschlag. We mentioned the 4-time Ontario go-kart champion, also rather good in snowmobiles. In the Speedway Tires and Mags machine will take over the point here in car 36 across the stripe as we come down to the closing stanzas of Heat number 2.
What a great shot down the back straightaway last time, Eric. You can really see the stagger set up, and there it is right there. How these cars are so set up to turn left. They're just a little off center with their weight. 1 lap to go for the race leader, Norm Eberschlag.
Norm Everschlag running just about perfectly here at Peterborough. Down the backstretch he goes. Look at the lead that he's got on second place runner Dick Mahoney and third place car Charlie DeRosa. Here he comes to pick up the win with a yellow flag. Norm Everschlag got a bit of a spin here.
Problems right in front of him here in turn number 2.
Oh, yeah.
One of the carts up into the wall here, and we didn't get a look at that number. It appears the driver's all right, though. But there's your race winner, Norm Everschlag.
Dick Mahoney second, DeRosa third. Dan May, our indoor winner on Raceline last year, fourth. And Brian Corse out of Oakville will pick up the 5th spot.
And there you see Bob Crawford from Can-Am Midget number 10 out of Jackson's Point. He's all right. I guess that's Jackson's Point, Ontario, not Bruce Springsteen's Jackson's Point.
No. That's up on Lake Simcoe. He is currently the vice president of the Can-Am Midget Club, and they've got elections coming up here soon, so maybe he'll run for a second term. But no one's going to unseat President Harry Macy. He's been there since the year they invented rope, just about.
Look, come on, you're just trying to string me along there.
Yeah, oh, no. See, you always wreck it. It's a good line and you come in. He's all right, Bob Crawford.
Yeah, he's okay. He's heading back, and there you see the balance of the cars lining up for our next heat race coming up momentarily. 4 heats and a main.
Because accurate records were never really kept, it's pretty hard to pin down. But midget car racing has a history and a heritage that dates back to the Roaring 20s and the Depression 30s. At county fairs and big city expositions, these tiny, loud, powerful, and yes, dangerous racers ran a lot of old dirt horse tracks and even bull-like board tracks. It was at one of these wood track attractions that longtime Can-Am Midget president Harry Macy saw his first race, and he was hooked.
Yeah, it was in 1937, Eric. I was 10 years old. My father took me to the races. He said, we're going to go see midget auto racing. I never knew what a midget was, but from that day on, I was really hooked. It was a track where their daredevils really ran in those days. It was a 5th-mile board track that they ran bicycles on. They had no roll bars, and they ran 2-stroke motors, and just a hell of a bang show.
So, Harry, in the 50s, when you got out of the Navy, that's when you decided to go racing, right?
Yes, that's right, Eric. I got involved with a friend of mine through a used car lot that had a midget, so we went partners. Of course, I had never driven any cars, so I hired a driver, and we traveled the NASCAR circuit in those days. And one day, my driver didn't show up at Chemung, New York, so I was obligated to drive the car. And since that day, in 1953, is when I had my first ride. And then I got involved with the 3/4 midgets a few years later, and we formed the Can-Am organization. And I ran for a good 20 years with the club until I had bypass surgery, so it slowed me down. Now I have my son and Jim Muncie driving for me.
While driving in the 50s, Harry got his first taste of racing administration as the secretary-treasurer of the old International Racing Association. Besides midgets, Macy raced go-karts in the 50s, winning an indoor title at Utica, New York. Of course, indoor racing would become a big part of Harry's life with the Can-Am Midgets. In the 60s, he put racing on the back burner and went into the trucking business. But he jumped back in when NASCAR, yes, NASCAR, asked him to be the chief steward for their midget division. Now, right about the same time, a farmer in Hamilton, Ontario, by the name of Al Banyard, was busy carving a pretty crude-looking dirt oval on his farmland in the Steel City. And under organizer Bob Crawford out of Pickering, some of the Ontario pilots just brought along their midget cars to run on this oval to churn up a little dust. On the U.S. side, Buffalo's Harry Macy and his quick field of TQs wanted to challenge the Canadians. This was the groundwork for the formation of the current Can-Am Midget Racing Club. So now into the 1990s, the Can-Am Midget Club boasts a membership well in excess of 400 members with over 60 licensed teams. And these guys run on tracks anywhere from Florida to New York State to Toronto and points in between. And of course, as we all well know, they run a very highly successful indoor program that's become an instant hit on Raceline.
Eric, I can't say enough for the drivers. They're so cooperative with me. We've got a group of 56 owners and drivers that I can ask them to go anywhere, anytime, and they'll cooperate with me 100%. And if it wasn't for those guys, the club wouldn't be where it is today.
Harry's wife, Gloria, has been a scorer with his club for years. Son Bill has driven, and now grandson Craig's into go-karts, so call the Macys the first family of midget racing. The cars may be small, but it's a big job running this show, and Harry Macy has it all under control. Harry Macy, one of racing's colorful people, brought to you by Kodak.
And Eric, I've had the opportunity of seeing Harry Macy work in the boardroom doing some corporate negotiating. And I'll tell you what, one day with the caliber of the show they have here and so on and so forth, they're going to put together a whale of a sponsorship deal.
1993 marking the 28th season of the Can-Am Midget Club. Okay, Heat 3, the volunteer fireman from Holland Landing, Ontario, north of Toronto. Paul Husby will lead him off. Dave McIntosh out of Rexdale right beside him on row 1.
Jim Muncie on the inside of row number 2 in that number 9 Can-Am Midget. I guess he's perhaps one of the early favorites here, at least in this 10-lap heat race. Always quick, and look for him to get to the front.
He is the one driving for Can-Am Midget president Harry Macy. We take the green. Balich, Shirtliff, Frendel, Dave McKnight, John Spencer, Ernie DeVoe make up the balance of the field. Look at these guys going 3 abreast in the corner.
Well, there's lots of room out there. You know, in stock car racing, you always hear 1 or 2 grooves on a speedway. This track does have 2 grooves if they were stock car racing. With these Can-Am Midgets, there are 3 good grooves and a sneaky 4th one up at the top if you can get in there.
Number 9, Jim Muncie out of Pickering, Ontario, in the president's car. That makes Harry feel pretty good to see his number 9 running up front.
Putting some power to the pavement, making it happen early as he gets well out in front through some oil dry from that earlier incident in turn 2.
There's Muncie in the 9, the leader. Number 90, Dave McIntosh, is being pressured by Dave Balich out of Mississauga in car 12, and he takes over the spot for second.
And coming up to make a challenge as well is number 44, Jim Shirtliff out of Mount Albert, Ontario.
He is the brother of Dan Shirtliff, who you well know is one of the stars of the Budweiser Cast Car Super Series and shares same hometowns with the champion of that series, Kerry Mix.
That's right. Kerry just moved to Mount Albert within a year or so. Shirtliff moves up into a battle now for 30s on the outside, trying to make it stick out there, and he'll take the spot away across the stripe.
Jim Muncie out of Pickering continues to lead in car number 9. Balich in the 12, running in second place, but an older style TQ Midget here, Ron, up front leading well. And the Balich car now is starting to slip just a little bit in that middle groove.
Still very quick, though. They just ran a 14 flat that time around, and of course we expected times in the high 13s throughout most of the afternoon.
Jim Shirtliff with a great move, slung it to the outside, tucked it down on the inside. He takes over second place in car 44. A great drive for Jim Shirtliff.
Nice looking car right there as well. The 06 powering around the speedway.
Dave McKnight out of Brampton, Ontario. He splits his time between the Can-Am Midgets, Ron, and the ISMA Super Modifieds. That's why that car looks so much like a Super Mod.
Shirtliff really getting the job done here as he continues to move up. Currently running in second place right now. But look at this. He challenged for the lead in that dicing off at turn number 2.
He just took that back marker and made a little bit of a sandwich out of him. Shirtliff trying to sling it around on the outside. If that car can do it there, tries it on the inside. But Muncie's driving it perfectly. He's blocking him off here.
Yeah, they did a really nice job of holding the line that time and covering the spot.
Great action here in heat number 3. There's the checkered flag. And Pickering's Jim Muncie will pick up the win. Great action when the cars stick so well. As you say, they can cut in and out, high line, low line, wherever it takes.
Well, there's the Kodak top 5 finishers. Jim Shirtliff really just ran out of time. I think another lap or so, and he may have caught up. But Muncie, the winner, joining Andy McAruth and Norm Eberschlag through 3 heat races.
And there's more of the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge from Peterborough Speedway on Raceline in a moment. Eric Thomas, Ron Sinclair, John Massenberg back at Peterborough Speedway. The Can-Am Midget Outdoor Challenge.
Normally, the Can-Am guys can do all of the tuning on their car, whether it be the engine or the driveline gear selection, right in the pit area. But Norm Eberschlag, the driver of the Speedway Tire Mag car, can do it right on the racetrack as well by tuning the engine. Ideally, Norm wants to see this car run somewhere between 240, 250 degrees in temperature. This is a fuel-injected engine, and the one way that he can make more horsepower is by actually taking fuel away from the engine. Norm will reach down here to what's called the jet pack. There's a variety of jet nozzles in here that control the fuel flow back to the fuel tank. Now, Norm wants to tune up a little power. He wants to put a little heat in this engine. If it's only running about 180 degrees, he can turn this up, take a little fuel away, lean the motor out a little bit. So all he's got to do is turn this thing one way or the other, gives him jet selection, and when he wants to go a little faster, he'll lean it out, just turn it up, put another jet in there, and he'll take a little fuel away from the motor, hence making more horsepower. A lot of these guys call this thing dial-a-prayer.
Dial a prayer, dial a nozzle or something. Where do they find time to do all this adjusting during these quick laps?
I think they must have eyes in their belly button down there.
Could be. Bob Wood out of Brampton, our Kodak buddy in car number 17 there. Here's the lineup. John Stothard out of Scarborough and Dan Bound out of Stouffville. His son Jody drives car number 84, but that's your front row for this one.
Well, this should be one of the fastest heat races of the afternoon, Eric. We have Keith Dempster in this race, Todd Cresswell, two very, very fast drivers. Look for them to get to the front in a hurry.
Got a few cars in here, 1, 2, 3, at least in the picture right now, that don't have wings here, electing to go without that hardware on top. That makes it awfully tough to navigate the 1/3 mile here. Jared Turnbull in the 30 kicks that car out, but he gets lost down in the lower groove, and away we go with heat 4.
Great start in this one. 3 abreast down the front straightaway across the stripe, and Stothard from Scarborough, the early race leader, has problems off of turn number 4.
Oh, man, that happened so quick. Everybody got by on the outside. It looks like he made a little bit of contact there, but that brings out the first actual race yellow of the afternoon here at Peterborough.
I think I spoke too soon when I suggested we were going to have a fast one. This is the first caution.
Dan Bound in the 0. Let's have a look at this again and see what happened. Maybe the wingless car and that aspect of no downforce, he just plain overdrove it in the corner. Huh?
Rear end went right around. You saw the tires were still turning left, but the rear end just went all the way around.
Just wanted to see if everybody got by here cleanly. Okay, the car did kick up in the air, but nobody did actually touch him.
That shot reminded me of many shots we saw back in 1990, Eric, at Toronto's Exhibition Stadium.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that little egg-shaped track there? These cars crashed right up over the wall and into the fence a couple of times there. They were flying around that one, too.
They leave the park here. They're going to be into that Bass Lake up there on the backstretch if they do it there. But these cars are so light in the 100 horsepower. Once they start bouncing, anything can happen. Little puff of smoke, not unusual. And away we go, and Dan Bound takes the green flag on the restart.
Running in second place, Turnbull from Paris in that number 30 car, and I think he's already lost that spot.
May do.
No, he's still in second.
All right, he hangs on to second place. Bound is your leader. Here comes the rest of the pack in behind. Heat number 4 at Peterborough, the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge on Raceline.
Keith Dempster, car number 5 from Alton, Ontario, making a move. You can see him back and forth now. The second yellow car, actually he's dropped to 5th. And on the outside trying to move up. He might pick off a couple of spots here at one swift move.
So we watched him up north, and now we got a spin here, and that looks like the 72 of John Stothard will bring out the yellow flag once again. But Keith Dempster, we've watched him. That car is just so incredibly powerful. It's not going to take him long to pick his way up here through the field.
Tough break here for John. That's the second time he has necessitated a caution flag in this 10-lapper.
Well, lack of stagger, set up, whatever, wing on top. The thing just is not adhering to this track at all. And this one we thought was going to be pretty quick. It's been slowed down here by a couple of yellows, Ron.
Well, this afternoon's program features 4 10-lap heat races as we prepare to get back to green flag racing. A 15-lap B feature, and then, of course, the big 30-lap A main.
So a big feature and a little feature, if you want to break it down that way. Some sanctioning bodies do.
It's appropriate for Canadian racing. A main.
A main, eh? All righty, RPMs come up, so does the noise. It's a great one in the restart. And look at Jared Turnbull throwing that midget around, trying to find some way to get by Bound in the 0.
I wonder maybe if there was a little contact there coming across the stripe to get things underway. They're awfully close, and there's Dempster back in, appears to be 4th or 5th position still. Now he's moving up and into 4th.
There he goes, just like we talked about, gets by the 23 machine of Randy May out of Mount Hope. Dan May, his brother, won the indoor show on Raceline last year, but Jared Turnbull is the son of Wayne Turnbull, who's won a bunch here with the Can-Am Midget Club, doing a good job up here in car number 30. He takes over the point, Bound drops back to second place, and there's the 5 of Keith Dempster. He's looking for his 6th win out here. He's pretty well got the outdoor championship nailed, and here's the pressure. Oh, if he gets on the inside, he is gone, and there he goes.
There he goes. And coming up through the field now as well is number 3, Todd Cresswell, and there he is spun out in turn number 1.
3rd yellow will come out. Maybe the track's getting a little slick here, Ron. We're seeing more of these guys getting up into that middle to outer groove, running into some of that marbling and debris up there, and they're not able to hold it down.
I'll tell you, this man right here is one of the up-and-comers in Can-Am Midget. His father, Bill, has a computer-like mind. This whole setup is drawn up on the inside of their trailer. Had the opportunity to get in there, and there's a flat tire there for the 74.
And Lorenz.
And had a chance to get in and talk to Bill Cresswell, and they really do have some wild ideas, but it seems to be paying off for them.
The crowd on hand here at Peterborough Speedway. They're scattered down the grandstands, big grandstands here that Kim and the crew have put in.
And if you looked real close, you could see us up there in that small window in that new tower there.
They look real close, exactly. Get out your binoculars here.
Single file formation for the restart once again. 3 cautions in this 10-lap heat race.
You want to know that Jared Turnbull knows exactly where Keith Dempster is. Puff of smoke means the foot has gone down, the noise of the RPM comes up, and we got the restart.
Well, Keith Dempster went back to second place, I assume, because they take the scoring from the last completed lap prior to the caution flag.
Oh, look at this. He gets down on the inside like he wants to do there, and Dempster is gone. Just looking for that hole. Turnbull doing everything he can, turning himself inside out to hold off Dempster. Now he takes him on the outside. Before the flag, the inside. After the flag on the outside, the Dempster car hanging. But look at Turnbull here. That car doesn't handle that very well, but he's putting the challenge back on Dempster.
Fighting back, trying to get into it. Once again, Todd Cresswell coming back up through the pack after that caution flag. And look out, a wheel off this car, and into the wall goes the 0.
Dan Bound up into the wall hard when the 30 of Jared Turnbull lost a rear sneaker, and that's the first messy incident of the afternoon. Dempster will come around and take the checkered flag. They didn't yellow it before the finish happened, so Dempster takes the win, but all eyes in the place, including ours, on this calamity up against the wall.
Well, both drivers appear to be all right. Look, he's looking for the tire, I think, over the wall there. He's just trying to get out of the car safely. That tire, we talked about that big old lake out back. Guess where the tire is right now, Eric?
That's a bass lure right about now, I think. in the drink someplace back there.
Who's your Wally Whopper 5?
Yeah, what kind of line would you use on that thing?
I'm not sure, but fortunately the drivers are all right. We're going to have another look at this. Car just simply getting loose coming off of turn number 2 here.
Broke the hub or the axle or something happened in the inside of the wheel on the Turnbull 30. Here comes Bound. He climbs up the front of the number 30 car, into the wall. I'll tell you what, with those exposed wheels, this is the open wheel part of the whole thing. Once you get up into contact with something, the suspension parts start to fly, and it's pretty well done.
Here's another angle of that. That wheel just ripped right off, basically.
Yeah, all by itself.
And obviously a little fluid of some sort coming down on the speedway there as well, I would think.
There goes the wheel right into the lake, right in the middle of it. Maybe you'll see it land here.
It's a good thing Bound didn't shoot up over that Jersey barrier type wall into the lake, because he was headed straight for it.
There you see pretty extensive front end damage on the Dan Bound 0 car.
Well, here's the finishing order. Keith Dempster wins the race. Randy May finishing second. Cresswell came on for a third place showing. Bob Wood fourth, and Jared Turnbull finishing fifth.
Floating perfectly in a lazy summer afternoon here at Peterborough. That is the tire off the number 30. Oh, yes, PRN. We need an answer to the trivia question. Who won the first championship? Casey, Watkins, or Vince, or Vinny Cristiano Sr.?
1967 was the year.
John Casey winning the first championship. Quick to the pits. Here's John.
Well, some people choose different ways of relaxing on the weekend, and for our sponsor, Kodak, product manager Bob Wood, the driver of the 17 car, Bob's not real relaxed right now. Bob, what's wrong with the car?
We're just having a little fun here with an oil leak that we can't quite track down, but dumped about a quart all over my leg in the heat race. And we'd like to kind of get that fixed before the feature, because we don't think we'd last very long without oil in the motor.
Bob, how's the car running other than that?
Well, the motor's strong. We just rebuilt it with Dave McKnight's help after a blown motor up at Sauble Beach. And the car's handling reasonably well. We just need to find this problem, or we aren't going to get very far.
Good luck and go get them.
Thank you, John.
And Bob's a very versatile guy, too. Not adverse to letting someone else drive the car if the opportunity presents itself. Joe Gosek of Super Modified fame drove that car indoors on Raceline last year.
Well, they're right. They're going to need some oil before they can compete in that 15-lap B feature or the A main.
84, Jody Bound. That's Dan Bound's son will take the push here. And we're just about set to let her roll for 15 laps in the B main. That's Jody Bound. We mentioned him. Most improved driver last year, winner of the Jim Sykes Memorial Award.
Nice looking car. The 46 this time around. Ernie DeBow.
From Elmvale, Ontario, north of Barrie. Work continues on the Jared Turnbull pit. You see John's microphone there. Let's go to him.
Well, this is what short track automobile racing is all about. Father Wayne Turnbull in here working on the car. Jared, a rough ride. You going to be able to get it back in?
I think so. We got lots of time.
Jared, a lot of damage to the car. It's all bolt-on parts?
Pretty much. I think we got enough to repair it.
Well, young Jared Turnbull is qualified for the A main, and the crew is working to get this one back in the battle.
Well, I don't think he really has a whole lot of time. These guys are turning laps awfully fast, and the B main is about, the B feature rather, is about to get underway here now, so they'd better hurry.
Forming up with white flag, rookie Mike Galida and Arnie Bray out of Whitby, the 88 champ, will make up the front row.
Dan Bound called for the inside of row number 2, will not be able to make it as he was involved in that crash.
Can't answer the bell there, so that drops one of the cars into the scratch position. Row 7, Jody Bound and Mark Cristiano, Ken Lorenz, Strothard in row number 8, and Dave McIntosh all by himself in row 9.
So it looks like 17 called. 16 will take the green flag as we go racing in the B feature.
The main at Peterborough Speedway here on Raceline, and Arnie Bray out of Whitby. What a start he got. He rockets away down the backstretch.
Dave Trendle running in that 47 car back into second place right now, but there's your leader powering around the corner, and here's a good battle for position up front. I believe that's for second spot.
84 of Jody Bound, the 21 of Jim Johnstone Jr. out of Hamilton. Johnstone staying in the top 5 in points all summer. An excellent season for Jim Johnstone.
Great run up front, however, for the 26. Arnie Bray, we had a watch on him last time around, turning 13.99, averaging just over 90 miles an hour.
He's got time to glance over his shoulder and look back at where the rest of the field is. That's the kind of lead he's got out here. The veterans can do that, eh? All kinds of poise.
Oh, for sure. But we mentioned, of course, that these guys, once their tires get heated, they'll start to move in a hurry. And the interval between first and second is closing in a hurry. Ken Lorenz, in the 74, really starting to reel him in now.
Ken Lorenz sits on the board of directors of the Can-Am Midget Club. His entire family's involved in this form of racing. But I just cannot believe the way Arnie Bray is walking away with the B-main here. Look at him go.
I'll keep an eye, though, on Lorenz in 74 because I believe, Eric, he is starting to catch up here just a little bit.
Going to have to really get on those pedals because Bray, fighting a slightly loose race car out here, has got this one in the top pocket.
Yeah, you can see him looking over his shoulder back there to make sure they're not catching up to him. A couple of laps remaining here. He's out front, and Jody Bound in the 84 is coming on up into third place as well.
Lorenz hanging on to second place. Bound is third, and Bob Crawford running in fourth place at the moment.
Lorenz is within a car length now as they power across the stripe. The slow traffic really helping out the second and third place cars.
Arnie Bray now knows the heat is on here. He had an easy job of it. There's Lorenz in the 74. He's right in beside him just about.
He's going to challenge here as they head across the stripe, but not enough as Arnie Bray holds on for the victory.
Nice job, a photo finish, and the Whitby, Ontario veteran pulls off the win out here in the B-main. Lorenz made it tight for second. Bound, Crawford, and Weatherall, your top 5.
Excellent battle right to the stripe, and there's a good close-up look at your race winner in the B-main.
Arnie Bray. One career championship in the Can-Am Midgets to his credit, but as we said, a strong runner each and every year. Going to wave him off into the pits, and we'll get set to turn him loose for the A-main. But first of all, the winner, Arnie Bray, stopped out there for the ceremonies on the front straightaway.
Love this beautiful afternoon in Peterborough, but can hardly wait till we go back indoors as well to the Niagara Falls Convention Center.
November 27, we'll be there for Raceline. With our winner, Arnie Bray, here's John Massingbird.
Well, congratulations, Arnie Bray, a 15-lap B-main feature win for you.
That was pretty close, eh?
Listen, let me tell you, when you get out there and you got to hustle on these B-mains, you can't make a lot of mistakes. You got to go right for the front, don't you?
That's right. We tried another setup, and I tried another gear, and we know where we got to go next anyway.
Arnie, I see a little oil on the steering wheel and in your lap. You got an oil leak down here?
I just see that myself, so we're going to have to take a look at that.
You need to hang on to that steering wheel a little tighter. Arnie Bray, winner of the B-main feature.
Good looking Arnie Bray. Looks like he'd be right at home on the beach someplace today.
What a job, Ron, they've done with this Peterborough Speedway. Formerly Westgate Speedway, dirt track, but they've paved it. They've done a repaving job here. It's turned out to be one of the nicest third miles in Ontario.
Headed up by Kim Wallace, and just think he almost sold it, but made the decision not to, but renovate instead.
It certainly was. It was a hard decision, I'll tell you that. I love racing and driving race cars and being at racetracks and that, and it was a big commitment in the fall. Last year, I don't know if you're aware or not, I tried to sell the racetrack, and just out of wanting to go racing more myself and that didn't work, and I could have given it away but not sold it, and I chose to keep it and do the improvements that we've done. And I'll tell you something, it's been a bonus. I've really had a lot of fun this year as opposed to driving the race cars. And I'm still getting a few races in anyway, so that's what counts.
Last year was an interesting year with Kim not here. We had a good season. I have good support from all our drivers, and we have a fantastic staff with family and friends that all pitch in, and even when Kim's not here, things go well.
He's been understanding, been home very little for probably the last year or so now, and even my relatives and that have just been so great with helping out. We probably saved well over $100,000 in labor in this deal, where I had relatives, friends, and upwards of 20 and 30 people helping in this deal, so it was good.
Sometimes through the week we also have an auto body repair business, and it gets a little hectic in the office. We also have 3 children, which take up a lot of time running back and forth, but we always manage to put on our Saturday night show.
Basically, it's new from what the spectators see out, and that's what I wanted. When I started the program this year, or actually I started it back in December and completed it this spring, we wanted, when the spectator sat down in our grandstand, to see new from there on out, and that's what we've got now. I brought in a couple big dozers actually, and they just eliminated all the old track and started new. We built new track, new fencing, new sound, PAs, or the PA system, scoreboard. Everything that you see here is brand new, and it's just worked out perfect.
We are very pleased. We couldn't be any happier with the way things have done. The crowds we've had have been excellent. We've had record number of drivers and cars. We're really pleased.
Nowhere today are you going to find a better field of three-quarter midgets anywhere in the continent than what we've got right here this afternoon at Peterborough Speedway. And talk about putting the meat in the middle of the pack. We've got Keith Dempster, points leader. Keith, they've got you in the middle of the pack in between Andy Macareth and Dave McKnight. But all you guys are packed with cars on both sides. You're going to start this thing out. Going to be a tough afternoon?
Yeah, it's sure going to be a real tough afternoon. It's a fast racetrack, and a lot of guys really run good here. We're just going to take it easy at first, and then we'll start picking people off, and hopefully we won't end up too far at the back, and maybe we can come out a winner today.
Anything about the racetrack you're concerned about? It is very, very fast. You're concerned about some of the slower traffic?
No, the guys running in the slower cars usually move over for you. They do a good job. I mean, they're trying hard, and like I said, we got a lot of respect for everybody.
Good luck, Keith. When we return, we'll go green on Raceline with the Can-Am Challenge at Peterborough Speedway.
Welcome back to Raceline, the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge, Peterborough Speedway. Eric Thomas, Ron St. Clair, John Massingbird on tap, 30 laps in the A-Main. This is what we paid our ticket money to come and see.
Even my heart's pounding looking at this field as they head in behind the pace vehicle. Take a look at this lineup. The Mays in there on 3 and 4. Jim Muncie on row number 4 as well. Todd Cresswell, number 3. Look for him to move up in a hurry.
Wayne Turnbull in row 7. He can climb up through. There's Bob Wood in row 8 in the 17 car. Keith Dempster will start from gate 18. If you want to use the horse racing vernacular, it's going to be fabulous to watch him pick his way up through this field.
Yeah, right alongside Andy Macareth. That should be a good battle coming from about halfway back. Yeah. 24 in all, but they line up 4 abreast here for a bypass.
Oh, this is a pretty picture. Customary with open wheel, midget, and sprint style cars to line up 4 abreast. Little exhibition there. But the beauty of it is, we're getting set for the start here, is that after they line up 4 abreast, look at these guys move. They know what they're doing. Got to get back to the original lineup. Other sanctioning bodies try this. It doesn't work. Who do we watch for today, Ron?
Andy Macareth for sure. 1991 indoor champion. 7 victories already under his belt this year. He will be awfully tough.
So will Norm Eberschlag. 4-time Ontario go-kart champ. 2 wins this season. We'd love to make it 3.
Well, here's a man who I think is probably the odds-on favorite. Keith Dempster dominated the outdoor competition over the last couple of seasons here.
And Dave McKnight, super modifieds or Can-Am midgets. He is tough anywhere he goes.
And also Wayne Turnbull, 1989 indoor and outdoor champion, looking for his 3rd victory.
All righty, let's have a look here. Everybody's lined up. Now, that is the real white flag lap. We're ready to rip it here next time around.
You know, another driver I think we have to watch for, too, is Todd Cresswell. He looked very, very good in his heat race, finishing in the top 3 in his particular heat race. In fact, 3rd, I believe. Yes, he did, with Keith Dempster winning that race. Heat race winners, Andy Macareth, Norm Eberschlag, Jim Muncie, and Keith Dempster. So watch for all of those drivers.
24 cars makes a sound that splits the air. The green flag is out, and away we go with the A-Main and the Can-Am Outdoor Midget Challenge at Peterborough Speedway.
13-second laps around this track. It's a 30-lap A feature, A-Main, if you will. Don't blink. You don't want to miss a thing. And I hope you have your seatbelt done up.
Dick Mahoney up front of the 79 with that car, Ron, showing a lot of smoke out there. We'll keep our eyes on that situation.
Already we had a glimpse there very quickly of the number 5 heading to the outside, about halfway back in the field right now. So Keith Dempster, the man we expect to make a move, is already doing so.
Car 15, that is Brian Corse out of Oakville, Ontario, takes the early lead here, coming by the wall for you. Brian is a very, very vocal and emotional president of the RAD program, R-A-D-D, Racers Against Drunk Drivers, right now doing a fantastic job out here.
All right, just having a look here at the field as they power around the corner. The number 3 car, as we suspected as well, Todd Cresswell from Willowdale, Ontario, moving up up to the front to challenge for the lead on the inside groove.
There's the 7 of Dan May at Mount Hope, the indoor winner on Raceline last year, without that wing, sort of getting left out here to dry on the outside by the 9 of Muncie out of Pickering, who you mentioned had a heat win earlier on this afternoon.
Cresswell starting to pull away from the field right now. The front four pretty much 3 or 4 car lengths ahead of everyone else.
Norm Everschlag in the 36. Let's ride on board with him. A lot of ignition interference and the lateral stress on those cameras there, but it gives you an idea of the view out of one of the cockpits of these TQ midgets.
Well, we didn't get it. Problems here.
Car number 10, Bob Crawford. That's right. Oh, wow, we got a mess of cars here. 4 will bring out the yellow for the first time here in the gaming.
Well, that'll tighten things up again, but it'll also cool off the tires, so it'll be a whole new start once again. You know, we didn't get a chance to see the tactometer on that in-car camera shot, but I'll tell you, it was hitting just about 13.5 on the back straightaway.
Bob Crawford, for the second time today, runs into the hard walls here at Kim Wallace's place, and he will unbuckle and get out of the number 10. He looks to be okay, but I don't know about the car. There's Jody Bound in the 84, got stuck up here in this mess.
Yeah, this time it's terminal, no doubt about that for Bob Crawford. He dodged a bullet earlier this afternoon, but not this time.
Jody Bound at the Stouffville gets moving again. Let's have a replay and see what happened. We didn't see what caused the original spin there, but it was what was behind it that created the problem.
All right, I think you'll see them come onto the screen here. Whoa, look at this. The 10 of Crawford right up along the wall, and the 84 under there as well.
Tightrope walking there.
Of Bound. That was very, very close.
Just about left the building, as they say, but he was able to keep it inside the park. Second time today that he's hit the hard walls here, as we mentioned.
Single file restart once again as we prepare to get back to green flag racing. Todd Cresswell out front, and the green flag flies, and we're back underway.
Cresswell running up front, and the 7 car of Dan May running in second place. Willowdale, Ontario, the hometown for the number 3 of Todd Cresswell. A number of notable open wheel competitors have come from Willowdale, namely Scott Goodyear on the IndyCar World Series, who will drive for Kenny Bernstein, the Budweiser King, Lola Ford in 1994.
Todd Cresswell really opening up a lead. Look at this advantage right now. It appears to be about 9-10 car lengths.
So the 06 of Dave McKnight go flying by in that car that resembles a super modified car. One of the drivers to keep an eye on, we mentioned, there he is, the 40 of Andy McAreth with 7 wins. Would love to make it 8 out here at Peterborough.
Just picking off cars left, right, and center here down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. This car appears to be handling extremely well. Next in line for the 40 car will be the 44 of Jim Shurtleff.
Let's have a look at Andy McAreth at work.
Wow, they're really boogieing.
They sure are. These are some of the neatest race cars, if you want to use that vernacular, that we really work with on Raceline. This first outdoor show we've done, and they haven't disappointed at all. There's Dan May out of Mount Hope, the 91-92 indoor champion. Brian Corson, the 15 run, swings around the outside of him.
Good handling race car as he pulls away now. The 31 also tucked in there, Wayne Turnbull from Paris. But there's your race leader out front, and out front by a lot, Todd Cresswell.
One of the guys you don't see a whole lot in the upper echelons of the finishing orders, Ron, but he does show signs of brilliance in a car that can be amazingly quick when it's hooked up, and looks to be that way right now. There's the 5 of Keith Dempster, looking to make it an even half dozen. Sorry, Ron, and he is on the move and picking off cars.
He's up in second place right now, so he has gotten by everyone except Cresswell, and the plan now is to reel him in, but a huge advantage. And look at this, in 2 laps he cuts it to about 2 car lengths.
Unbelievable. He started 18th, Ron St. Clair, and he's already up and challenging for the lead. This is why the guy has led the points most of the summer.
2 wildly different setup race cars here. The 3 of Cresswell, I wouldn't say radical, but they certainly have their own ideas, and they go out on a limb setting up this race car, and it appears to be paying off as they weave in and out of traffic. Cresswell using the traffic to his advantage.
Swinging by some of these slower automobiles coming by the wall here for you, but what a duel we're going to get in a few seconds here with the 3 of Cresswell and the 5 of Keith Dempster.
Second groove appears to be working extremely well for the fast race cars. Look at this, out in the second groove, entering the turn.
Cars just get a little bit wobbly, but that's okay. It doesn't seem to mind. They just, wherever they put the cars, they just stick there, and this is a real nice duel here. Dempster can pass, as we saw before, down low or up high. It doesn't matter. Now, some slow traffic getting in the way here. They're going to have to really watch what they're doing.
I would think, though, that Cresswell will make Dempster take the outside lane to get around. He certainly won't give him anything inside. Oh, well, there he goes to the inside, and he makes the move stick.
Oh, one of the reasons why Keith Dempster is just so darn good, he'll fool you at the last second. You thought he was going to go high, break down low again, and when the cars handle like this, that's exactly what happens. Keith Dempster out front and running, starting to pull away from the field now. More or less has the outdoor championship in his hip pocket, and a win here today will mathematically put it to bed.
Putting everyone down one lap here. Ken Lorenz went down a lap just a moment ago. There's the number 9 car in the race as well. Jim Muncie from Pickering started 8th and still running 8th.
Driving for the President Harry Macy now. White flag comes up for Keith Dempster. This didn't take long, and when the cars are this dominant, it doesn't take very long. Keith Dempster of Alton, Ontario adds this one to the 93 outdoor portfolio. He'll make it an even half-dozen wins and the outdoor title that makes 3 career titles in Can-Am Midget activity. Keith Dempster, car number 5, takes the win in the A main.
Todd Cresswell will finish 2nd, and here you see the top 5. Wayne Turnbull in 3rd, Jim Shurtleff with an excellent showing in 4th, and Norm Eberschlag finishing in the number 5 position.
Steve Cosa, Andy McErath inside the top 10, Muncie 8th, Dan May finishing 9th, and Dave McKnight Jr. in the 10th spot.
When was the last time you saw a 30-lap race go that quick? I'll tell you, they were buzzing around here today.
I was going to go down and get a soft drink. I'm glad I didn't. I almost missed that one. Keith Dempster, a dominant automobile all summer and dominant here in the Kawartha Lakes region of Peterborough Speedway. We're back to talk with the winner on Raceline after this. Can-Am Midget Outdoor Challenge at Peterborough Speedway. Alton, Ontario's Keith Dempster dominant again. Here's John.
Well, with only one caution, it was an extremely fast race. Well, I'll tell you what, young man, well done.
Thank you very much. I didn't know if I could catch him. He was running good, but he kind of slowed up a bit when the traffic came up, and I took advantage of it. And in this kind of racing, if you don't take advantage of what you can, you'll be behind the other guy.
One of the things that you always think about, these cars don't have any mirrors on them. It's got to be a sixth sense almost, Keith, is it not, when to cut back down in when you're making a pass?
Yeah, it's experience, and there's a lot of contributors to when you know a guy's out of your way, like there's shadows from the sun on their wings, and a lot of people don't realize what you can see.
So in addition to reading the track, there's a lot of other signals out there. Congratulations, Keith Dempster, points winner, congratulations.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank my sponsors, Central Truck Body, Pennzoil, and NutraSweet. Thank you for coming.
Gives them lots of momentum, Ron, going into the indoor season that starts in just a few weeks, really.
Well, these cars were just so very fast here at Peterborough this afternoon.
Ravel Monogram, performer of the race, guy you don't hear too much about, but was he fast today? Todd Cresswell from Willowdale.
Yes, he was running in the 13 seconds and led most of the race, and here he was out front early in this race. Was unable to stay out there, but settled for 2nd spot overall.
Well, the stars of the future of the Can-Am Midget Club.
Congratulations, Todd Cresswell. A fine second-place show this afternoon. A quick race, though.
Yeah, really quick. It's over before you know it.
Todd, there was only the one caution, and you were working a lot of traffic, and you had Dempster all over behind you, and you held it for most part of the race, but he snuck down under you.
Yeah, I didn't know he was behind me, but generally speaking, it's safe to assume he is. If he's not behind you, if he's not in front of you, he's right behind you.
There you go. Fine run this afternoon, Todd. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations, Wayne Turnbull. We've seen you win inside in the 3rd place today. A good run.
Good and bad. You've probably seen the other half of my team. Bad shape, but I like to finish. Good weekend.
Wayne, you worked on Jared's car. He got into some trouble in one of the heats a little earlier. Running 2 cars, that's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, is there anybody like to buy that car and run it for me? Have Jared drive it? Be the best thing that can happen to me.
Congratulations on your 3rd place spot, and we'll send you a bill for the advertising.
Thank you.
Wayne Turnbull, 3rd place man today here at the Can-Am Challenge.
Well, Ron Sinclair, we talked about it in the opening. We knew that it was going to be one of the fastest oval track races we were ever going to present this year on Raceline, and it certainly turned out to do that. So we just sat down, and Keith Dempster takes the win with less than 5 laps to go. He passes Todd Cresswell, and she's all done, 30 laps.
Well, you sure wouldn't want to go for a sandwich during one of these races. No doubt about that. You'd miss it. But it was a real tough break there for young Todd Cresswell. He was trying to make it 2 in a row here at Peterborough, and he certainly had the field covered, had the fastest time during the race, but I suspect he had a valve go away on him with about 5 laps to go, and of course you saw what happened after that. That 5 car was to the front, never looked back.
Keith Dempster with another win pretty well nails down the 1993 Can-Am Midget Club Points Championship. Well, that's going to wrap it up from here at Peterborough Speedway. We have had ourselves a marvelous time. This is a great part of the country. check this out behind. I'm going to flip a Hottentot in there and see if I can't snag a pretty chunky-looking largemouth. How about you, Ron?
I think I'll take this microphone and see if I can't throw a Wally Whopper 3 on it. Maybe go fish out that big old tire there.
From Peterborough Speedway, on behalf of Ron St. Clair and John Massingbird, I'm Eric Thomas, and we'll check you next time on Raceline. Racing radio is provided by New Venture Communications, London, Ontario. In-car and wall cameras supplied by Sony Canada, makers of the Sony Handycam. While in Peterborough, the staff and crew of Raceline stay at the Comfort Inn. Comfortable, convenient, the Comfort Inn.
Raceline has been brought to you by new Kodak Gold Ultra 400 film for all your Kodak moments. Ravel Monogram, the world's model maker. And Aerofoil Wiper Blades, the leading edge in wiper technology.
Raceline continues in the new year with modified cars in the Twin Creek Grand Nationals. Watch for it on TSN's Rolling Thunder, January 6th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific Time on TSN.